What's up guys, Ken of Westwood Table Soccer here. Welcome back to the channel and welcome to the Painting Academy, where we today are going to be adding our red. So in this episode you're going to need your 0-0 brush, definitely your 0-0 and not your 0. You're also going to need your 1-5-3 Humbrol matte enamel. You're going to need your eyes, you're going to need your hands, you're going to need your ears, you're going to need your lights, your tissue, your white spirit. But before we do, I've just got to throw to Ken of Westwood Table Soccer, who's got a really important message. Go. Is he there? Is he there? Hang on. Yeah, Cal, can you roll the footage, mate? Because I'm still like an idiot here. Alright, before we get any further into this video, I've had another email from Mark at Santiago in between the first episode going out and me shooting this one. I've got another little list of names and thank yous to make to everyone who has got involved in this at the time that we first recorded it. If you're coming to this video in weeks, in months, in years time, thank you so much as well for coming along and getting on board with it. Even if you're not painting Feyenoord, or you may be painting Feyenoord, get on it. There's some really good tips in this series, hopefully for you guys, but I just want to run through some names of guys that have got involved after the first email went out. So big thank you to Mario C, Jason A, Fabian M, Stephen D, Dad C, Richard S, John C, David H, Michael B, Kevin W, Antonio DM, Alan H, Alan G, Richard M, Richard B, Duncan R, and Chris S. And of course, my main man, Paolo Blanco. He's got involved as well. He knows who he is. Guys, thank you so much for getting involved. We've got guys in America and France and Italy, and we've got that guy in Japan. I cannot believe it. For me, to have guys even watching this video, let alone guys from all over the world, is incredible. So thank you so much for getting involved. Let's get on with the intro. Let's get on with this episode. Again, thank you so much, guys. Let's roll. Is he done? He's done. All right, awesome. That was amazing, guys. On a serious note, thank you so much to everyone that's got involved. And as you said in that little bit of video there, if you guys are getting involved way after the event of this one first going out, please continue to get in touch. I go over my YouTube comments all the time. So if guys are going back and watching old videos and getting into them, I really like that. 2, this video, as with the last one, has been broken down into titles. If you click in the description, you'll be able to see what they're all called. Or if you're just scrubbing across that little red line that comes up across the bottom of here, you'll be able to see where the titles start and end. So you can, and I would expect you to, because I think you'll need to, especially in this episode, you can scrub forwards and backwards to any part that you want. There are parts in this where we've split our long sleeve and our short sleeve. So if you're not doing short sleeve shirts, you can just skip straight over it. Or if you are doing a mixture of the two, then you can go back and scrub through as and when you need to. So that is the end of the intro here. Let's get this class in session. Get your pens out, get your papers out, get your desk flipped. Let's do it. Okay, so here's where my guys ended the last episode then. If you remember, we added all of our skin tones on, and for my team, we have got 3 skin tones in action. We've got 61, 234, and 98, and we have also combined long and short sleeved shirts. And we had a little tutorial in the last video on how to create the long or the short sleeve shirt, depending on what you did. Now, your guys' stuff may not look exactly the same as mine now, because you may have chosen to do all one skin tone, or you may have chosen to do multiple skin tones, but all long sleeves or all short sleeves. So everyone's going to be at a slightly different stage, but I just wanted to remind you guys, this is where we are. Alright, so back in episode 1, I mentioned my painting setup, and I just realised as I watched it back through that I didn't mention to you that this is set up for me as a right-hander. So I have my cleaning stations and all my paint on my right-hand side, and then on my left I have my figures and things. Obviously, if you're left-handed, you'll probably just switch that around. So that was a little thing I thought I might mention, as I didn't do it on the last one. So setup-wise, if you need to, if you are left-handed, then just flip round what I do. You might find it easier. Today, what we're going to be doing, the first stage we're going to be doing, okay, is adding our 3 sock rings around the top, because the top of these socks are probably the hardest part to get right on this kit, but they will be the bit that really sets this kit off, because they are so intricate and they are so different. They're really going to make a difference. Okay, In terms of order, because I'm not going to be able to talk when I'm actually painting this, I will leave it in real time so you can see what I'm doing. But while I'm painting, I do that thing, I call it like the sniper, like I say, I don't really breathe when my paintbrush is on the figure because I need to be as still as possible. So I'll talk you guys through it just quickly here. We're going to start with our top hoop on both legs, okay? Our little thing to mention is that this leg goes straight down and this one is at a slight angle. So this one is the easier one to paint. This one is a little bit harder. So what I do is I always start in here and I come round onto my figure and I bring it all the way around and I will flip him over and then I will come through and I will take it from there and I will join it onto there. On this leg, on the slightly bent leg, I start at the back, so I come round the top and I'm just trying to go along that skin line, okay? Come around to here and I flip him again and I try and pull in between there. The middle hoop is the hardest hoop to do. So again, I start on this straight leg. So again, I start exactly the same place. I come round and all I'm trying to do is leave an equal gap as close as I can of white space left in the middle. So I'm coming round, I'm bringing it in through here, round the back, flipped again, and then I take him through there. Exactly the same process. Start at the back, bring it round, looking to leave an equal gap between the two red lines. Round we come. And then we come down here, and then the last but not least, the bottom one is the easiest because if we go too far down, these socks are black, so we can take that red away. So if you want to and you're a little bit worried about maybe not having enough red here, then paint this bottom one a little bit thicker, but it's important that we leave that equal space in white here. So you can come down as far as you like in red down here, it doesn't really matter because we're going to be painting it in black. So we're going to come round here as we have with all the others, flip him round, join it at the back, coming round down here, flip it. This is the only time when I'm on the front of this leg that I tend to flip my figure and hold him like this, and then what I try to do is come round to here and then meet on this side. You'll see me do it in a minute, but I just wanted to mention it, and then you'll end up with your 3 sock hoops here. Again, the key thing really is this equal white space. The white space is what's important here because we don't want to have to paint it in again after. I've already opened and mixed my 153 red. This is going to be the only colour we're going to be using in this episode, and I am using my 00 brush. Because we're not painting large surface areas for this bit, we're going to be looking to have our brush as pointy as possible. It is going to mean a few more trips back in to dip into the paint, but that's not going to be an issue, and we are going to be spending most of our time holding the figure by his head, okay? So there's our first hoop in place. I wasn't happy with the way my brush was behaving at the front, so I gave it a little wipe down and I started the setup on it again because it was leaving these little kickouts down the bottom and I wasn't happy with it. So that will happen sometimes. If that happens, don't just keep plugging on and getting on with it. Relax, stop, clean your brush up, have another little look at it and reassess, because the last thing you want to do is go through them all with it misbehaving or whatever and then come back and look at it and think, oh, that could have been better. So that's our first one done. We're going to repeat the process on this other leg here. Okay, the bit of the video you're about to see now is adding the central hoop to your socks. Without a doubt, this is the hardest one of the 3 to get on. Take your time with it. Don't worry if it's not perfect, okay? For some of you guys, this is the first team you've ever painted, so I 100% guarantee you, no matter what you produce from this video, it's going to be better than what I produced on my first attempt. Adding the central hoop is, as I said, the hardest one of the 3 to do. What you're looking to try and do, and I mentioned this in the video, is have the white space that you're leaving white, try and make it the same size as the hoops you are painting. So try and make it equal. Don't worry if you make mistakes. We have that white acrylic we can come back round and do some little touch-ups with if we need to. But yes, I'm going to run the footage of the central hoop. Again, if you guys ever have any questions or you need any more help, please do not hesitate to contact me. Get in the comments, get on our Twitter, email us directly, get on the new Facebook group, and I'll be happy to try and help you as best I can there. So let's just roll this footage. Excellent. So what we've done there, we've created our white space in the middle. Now that means that when we put this bottom one in, we're looking to leave the same amount of white space here and here with our bottom hoop. Gonna come round to the second one, and as always on the bent leg, we start at the back. When you're in this position here, what you can do is once you've got yourself set on where your divide is, you can lean your brush on the base, and that'll give you a nice sturdy sort of brace, that's frame to come in on. So it's a nice little trick on sock hoops is to lean on that base and just drag it round. It'll keep that line in pretty much the same place for you. So there we go. We have our second hoop done. The 2 hardest ones, brush a little clean up. The final one is painted in exactly the same way, but as I said, you can, if you want to, create a thicker hoop. So what I'm going to do is do one of each to show you what I mean. So on this bottom one, I'm going to try and go a little bit thicker on the straight leg so that you guys can see what I mean. So all I'm looking Now as you can see there, that hoop is way thicker than the other 2. Not going to be a problem because we are painting black underneath, and I don't really care how messy this line is at the bottom. So if I was to mess this all up here and get some red down there, it doesn't matter. So don't worry if you mess the bottom up. The important bit is that top bit and having that equal white space in there. So here we go then. This one we're going to do properly, trying to make it the same as all the others. So actually on that second one, I ended up with sort of a thick end here and the thinner end in here, because I noticed that my white space wasn't the same. So I try to take a little bit more of it away. Really important that we're careful when we're taking away white space, because like I say, we don't want to have to paint it back white again if we can avoid it. So that is how you create your 3 hoops on the socks. Okay, so what you're about to see is a time-lapse through of me finishing off those last of the sock hoops. Hopefully the instruction has been useful. Remember, you can go back and watch that bit as many times as you need to. And if you're still not happy, get in touch, get in the comments or get in contact with us on any of our usual pieces. But yeah, so let's run through this time lapse. So this is what they should look like. We're not going to put the black on the socks at the moment because we're going to do the black all at the same time in one episode. And there's a special reason why we're not doing it on the shorts yet, even though they are all one colour. You can see over here, we haven't touched our goalkeeper yet. We're going to leave him. He's going to have black shorts, black socks. Mine's going to have a dark green shirt. Yours will either have a dark green shirt or a black shirt, depending on what you choose to do. The only other little tweak you could make if you really wanted to would be to put some red on those socks so he better matches the outfield kit, which is something we might do, but we're going to come to that in another episode. So we're going to have a look now at doing that cuff and that sleeve. Okay, so that's our sock hoops all done. What you're about to see now is us starting to add the red to the shirt, and we're going to start off with those red cuffs on the long sleeves. Now, I have to apologise. I get my thumb in shot so much during these next little bits, but if you are watching on YouTube, which you are, of course, there is now little titles and timestamps in this, and you can scrub through to the little bit you want. I would advise watching through my explanation, but there is a part in this video, and it's mentioned in the little scrub bar down the bottom, where my thumb isn't in the way. So have a little listen and watch through, and then you can scrub forward if you want to and keep scrubbing through that bit where I'm not in the way. I'm going to call it Westwood's Out of Shot. That's what I'm going to call it. You'll be able to see it. So have a little scrub down through and you'll see a title that says Westwood is out of shot, and you'll be able to see me painting these cuff lines on without my massive thumb getting in the way. So let's have a little look at running those red cuffs onto the long sleeve shirts. We are now going to create our red cuff on the right hand arm. Left hand as you look at it, but the figures right hand. What I'm going to do to start with is show you on the long sleeve figures Then I'm going to show you on the short sleeve figures. Then we're going to come back to the long sleeve figures and we're going to do the whole sleeve, leaving that white space at the bottom, and then vice versa, back onto the short sleeve figures. And on a long sleeve shirt, it's really, really simple. A lot easier to do this on a long sleeve shirt than it is on a short sleeve. In terms of brush setup, we want to go a little bit back to what we had in the last episode. We want to kind of be flat and pointy, but not as flat and wide as it was for painting the large surface area. We want to be sort of halfway in between. And just going to double check to make sure I'm painting the right piece. And all we're going to do again, similar to how we did that first sock line, is we're just going to bring it on, and we're going to just look to drag it across to cut off and draw a line between that skin line on the hand and the top of the shirt. Again, what I'm going to do here is I've got my thumb based on the base, and what I can do is use my thumb as a resting point. That will help me to keep my line nice and straight if I get my thumb in the right place. And that's going to help me to get a nice crisp line around the shirt. And it's these sort of details here that are really, really making that first episode of figure preparation so important. Because we're doing hoops here, if we'd have had that really big raised line, we'd have had a lot of kickouts here. If we left that really big raised line here and those uneven arms in here, we're going to find kickouts here and places where paint can run up there. So that's the first one. We're going to go through another one. I'll go through all of these with you guys on camera, so you guys can see them. It's a real easy thing to do, but again, really important, really effective as well. It's going to make this kit look awesome. So nice and easy, a lot easier when you come around the back, just to get that thumb out on the base, rest it along there, meet your line, and just drag it back to try and create an equal hoop there. We've got a little bit of differentiation there, but what we're going to do to just clean that up, if you ever get a line, if your front piece is not as thick or as thin as your front one, just flip your brush so it's on the thin side and then even it up nice and easy, so you get a nice even divide. Cool, so there's our guys then with our long sleeves. As you can see, all pretty uniform in the width of the cuff line. I've left the brush in there, hopefully you guys can see, or won't know until I come to the post edit. That is how thick I have my bristles to set out for this. It's flat and it's pointy, but it's not as spread out as it was when we were doing the skin, the heads, etc. So I'm going to do, quickly get these guys out of the way, and we'll bring in the short sleeve figures. So I've got 4 short sleeve figures in my team. The brush setup on a short sleeve is going to be a little bit different, okay, because the cuff line on a long sleeve shirt is always bigger than a cuff line on a short sleeve shirt. So what we're going to be looking for width wise for the cuff on here is similar to that top line on the sock here. We don't want it to be as thick as the others are here. So let's get a couple of these guys out of the way and let's show you guys how to do this. So brush setup wise, similar now back to how we had it on the socks. And again, making sure we get it on the right side and start on the inside of the arm from the front. And we're looking to keep an equal pressure on the brush so that we end up with an equally width line. What we don't want is too much pressure being applied, because if we apply too much pressure, we'll end up with a thicker line and a line that changes thickness as it goes round, which is exactly what we don't want. And you'll remember in episode 1, I made it really clear when we came to doing our skin that we left it so that there was a gap between shirt and shirt where we could get this red line. It's so important that we get this red line in here. If we'd have run this up too high, our red line would be merged into the front of the shirt and it just doesn't look very good. So you always want to make sure, and this is like the best place now we're starting to see the kit come to life, we're seeing it, we want that red line, that red cuff line or sleeve end line to come all the way around the shirt and be really, really visible that it goes all the way around the shirt. So key thing to note now is how important it was to get this skin line as even as possible, because it makes it a lot easier to create an even cuff. If we'd have had skin, a really rough edge skin line, when we put this red line around, there'd always be a risk that there'd be a gap in white, which isn't such a massive issue if there's a gap in white on this side because we could fill it in. But if we'd have had skin above this line, we would now have ourselves a little problem. So really important with everything we do is when we're adding paint is we take so much care to be as even and consistent as possible, so that when we come to paint these details on, where we want white space to be, we have white space, and then we can get nice even lines on our figures. So there we go. Once again, I've left the brush in there so hopefully you guys can see how thin it is. We've got all those cuff lines now onto our figures. That literally takes probably 5 minutes to get all of those 10 figures done, and we're now going to come on to doing the other side sleeve, where we're looking to leave the white space at the bottom. So I'm just going to get set up for that really quickly. Okay, so we're now going to come on to adding the red sleeves to our long and our short sleeved figures. Another little apology for this part of the video, and no, it's not my thumb getting in the way, but again, my thumb gets in the way. There are bits within this though where my thumb isn't in the way, but the explanation where my thumb is in the way is really useful, so I've had to keep it in. I will try for the next episode to get my big massive thumb out of the way of the shot. So remember, you can scrub forwards and backwards on this, listen to the explanation, and then get to the bits where my thumb isn't in the way to kind of get that visual, audio visual. Both those learning techniques hopefully are within there. The bit I do have to warn you about is, for some reason when I was filming this bit, I think my lights were interfering with my camera, and there's some really irritating camera flicker, which I have tried to get rid of in the post edit, but I haven't been able to get rid of it completely. It's not really bad, it's just annoying, so I just want to let you guys know that it's there. So let's run the footage of me putting those red sleeves on these figures. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to create that red sleeve on the other side. Okay, and what we need to do is have ourselves with a flat brush. I need a little bit of paint to create my flatness over here, because what I need to be is quite similar to where we were before. So I want quite a flat edge. So here we go. You can see here, nice and wide, nice and thin, because what I want to do is I want a flat edge coming all the way around here so I can leave this white space, and then what I'll probably do as I come up is flip onto my pointy edge to create this line and then try and match it up on the back. So the first thing we're going to do, as we always do, paint in the middle there, and what we're going to do is ever so slowly bring it down until we've got a fairly even white space left to red space on the other side, and that's not too bad. Just want to try and make it as equal as possible. Once you've done it on the front, you can bring it back, and again, this is another area where your figure preparation is coming in so important right now, because if you'd left a load of those little extra bits of like scratchy plastic kicking around on there, then you would now be in a position where you'd be catching them and they potentially be moving paint where you don't want it, or they'd be taking paint, you'd be painting things you don't want to. So we've left now, you can see there, we've left now a white space at the bottom. Now comes the second bit. I'm going to come up the underarm first, and I may have to, as I say, just flip. I just want to bring some more red up so I can get a nice, just in my head, create a nice picture of where I am. So I'm going to come up now. To create that line on the front, because I need to make sure I've got a very, very clean divide between sleeve and shirt, and there will be another clean divide on the other side, but now what we need to do is make that divide equally as clean and crisp on the back. So what I'm going to do, tiny little bit of paint, because I need to bring my paint in exactly where I want it this time. It's not something you usually do, but I need to grab something from the top now and just bring it down to give me a reference point to meet up with the rest of my paint. So there we have it. We have got ourselves one figure with his red cuff white sleeve on this side and a red sleeve white cuff on this side, and all of his red sock hoops in place. Now already it's a pretty cool looking kit, to be fair. We've done some of the hardest parts already on this kit. The socks, without a doubt, are definitely the hardest. They're so tricky, they're so easy to mess up. Long sleeve area, pretty simple. We're going to come on to doing the short sleeve in a minute. But we'll leave the V-neck collar and the halving of the shirt. We haven't used the black yet, so don't try and jump ahead and think, well, the shorts are black, I'll do them black. There's a reason we haven't painted the shorts black yet, so do not paint the shorts black. Do not jump ahead. Do not paint the rest of the socks black either. We're going to do all the black at the same time. So this is where we are. I'm going to quickly time-lapse through these others and leave that on camera so you guys can see it, and it might help you if you've got any other questions. But do not forget, if you have any questions about anything you have seen in this episode, please get in the comments and ask, or you can tweet me at Westwood_TS. You can email me, westwood.ts@gmail.com. You can contact us directly through our website, which is www.westwoodtablesoccer.uk. Do not leave it. Make sure you ask me. I might need to go over something again on camera, which I will do. I've got some spare figures. If I need to show you guys something else or go over something again, then I will show you. Then. Alright, so short sleeve, red sleeve shirt creation. A little bit harder than the long sleeve version because the amount of surface area is a lot less. So it will be a little bit harder. The principles though are still the same. This divide that comes up here is the really, really important one, and leaving of white space around there. Going to be really tricky. I'm going to do one how I would naturally do it, and then I will come round and talk you through it on the second one. So this bit here may well be time-lapse, but I just want to do one natural so I know exactly how I would do it if I was doing it for you guys. Alright, so there is one short sleeve, red sleeve created with the red paint. I will now talk you through how we did it on one of these others. So let's have a look at these guys here. Right, the principle is exactly the same in theory. We need to leave that white space at the bottom of the sleeve down here. This bit here needs to remain white. There needs to be a red line or a red bit that comes all the way around, and then our line needs to come up as clean and straight as possible over here to match up on the back. So what we're going to do is we're going to start off with a fairly flat brush, but nowhere near as flat as we had before. And what I'm going to do, as I always do, is I'm going to start high up, and then I'm going to bring down a line to where a sleeve line is. What's really important is that I'm not going to try and go around all the way around under his arm just yet, because I need a thinner brush to get in there, or a thinner set of bristles to get in there and match that up. All I'm going to do to start with is get the majority of my sleeve done with my current brush setup, trying to keep that line as crisp and as straight as possible. Now I'm going to come back around the front, and what I want to do here is I want to get this, line in now, and then I'm going to come in and just tuck in that bottom bit. So I'm going to match this up on the back of the shirt here now, and then I'm going to fill in that bit on the front of the shirt that we haven't quite done yet. Come around there. What I want to do now then is I want to change my bristle setup to be something quite thin, because I need to get in round here. If I have too much paint or I've got bristles that are too thick, what I'm going to do is end up contacting areas I don't want to contact. A tiny little bit to try and reach just under here. So short sleeves, definitely harder. but they do look really good. So we've got 2 of our sleeves done there. We have got 2 left. Again, we'll time lapse, blast through those 2, and then we'll show you guys what these look like all the way at the end. Here we are then. This is what they look like now. Those lovely 3 sock hoops down the bottom there. Lovely crisp red cuff on his right side and a lovely red sleeve on his left. Nothing has happened to the goalkeeper. As you can see, he is still like this. We haven't touched him in this episode, and I don't expect you guys to touch yours either. What we've ended up with is a lovely crisp straight line up that sleeve to divide that shirt off on the front and the back of the shirts, as you guys can see here. And what we're going to do is come to adding that red half and that V-neck collar on the next episode. Alright, so that brings us to the end of this episode then. In this one, we have added those 3 sock hoops to the top, and we have added the red cuff and the red sleeve. We are absolutely motoring through this now. In the next episode, we're going to cover off half in the shirt and add in those V-wing necks on this side before we come into the final episode, where we're going to add that badge, we're going to finish the keeper, we're going to add those shorts, and we're going to add our final finishing touches of the hair and the boots. If you've enjoyed it, guys, please smash that like button. If you have any questions about anything we've covered in this video or a previous video, please get in the comments, tweet us, email us, get in touch with us through our website. We need to know, or I need to know, I say we all the time, it's just me. I need to know what you guys need help with so I can cover it again and try and help you guys out. I've had a few questions in already from the previous episode, so thank you very much for getting those into me. Click the subscribe button in the middle, or you can get the rest of this series on this side, or you can get our tutorial playlist on this side for any extra help that you need when it comes to painting your Subbuteo figures. That is this session of the Painting Academy all over. Class dismissed. Get subscribing. See you on the next one.